Let's take this CX-50 around Enterprise for a little ride. And let's get going. Lovely chime.
More car vids. More car vids.
We're heading down on the boulevard. I'm going to take you a little bit across town to a park. And we've driven the CX-50 before, the Turbo specifically as well. And a couple reasons I wanted to drive this evening is, number one, that I'm driving a Turbo CX-5, so I wanted to just kind of compare or remind myself of the similarities and the differences between the two different vehicles with the same powertrain. And secondly, because in just a couple of days, less than 48 hours, I'll be driving the CX-90 turbocharged and the plug-in version. So wanting to just see how it compares. Same platform on the CX-50 as the CX-30. Same style of platform that we'll see in the large version on the CX-90. And expect, because it is wider than the CX-60 specifically, but a wider application just like this one's wider than the CX-30, I'm expecting similar feels, similar driving experiences and driving dynamics. And I've heard a lot of great things as far as the handling on the CX-90, so I can't wait to experience it, and I think it's going to be fantastic. I've said before, I think that the best application of this vehicle is the turbo. So if you're wanting to decide on turbo or non-turbo CX-50, I think you have to consider the turbo, unless there's just some equipment or dramatic price differences. If you're looking at the Select or whatever the situation is there, they both handle the same and phenomenally, except of course the differences that you can tell in the wheel size from the 17s to the 20s. However, I just think that the weight of this vehicle is, the turbo serves it better. Now, not really the case on the CX-5. I think that the CX-5 has a lot of pep on the standard 2.5, and the turbo is just not really overkill, but I think the turbo is just a next level that you may or may not need in the CX-5. So what I expect on the CX-90 is a very tight feel, a very limited body roll, much like this CX-50. That wider stance eliminates the top from tilting in a turn. And although I don't have very dramatic turns here on the bypass here in Enterprise, or the boll weevil circle as it's known, I can still just feel how this is so stable on the road. And I think, especially with the kinematic posture control that's standard on the CX-90, that's going to be amplified on that vehicle, on the CX-90. I'm really interested in the CX-90 with the 8-speed transmission, hoping that it gives a couple of quick changes between first and second, which this 6-speed doesn't seem to do. So I hope that it's maybe first, second real quick when you accelerate heavy, and that maybe just 1 or 2 gears for the higher end to lower the revs for better fuel economy. This is about as much off-road as I can do right now. This is Johnny Henderson Park, so they do have, as you can see, the lake and walking trails and things over here. But let's just remind ourselves of this beautiful CX-50. The turbo, of course, has this little painted area here, and as we look up front, nice Mazda logo, grille, very rugged look. Over here at the headlights, you can also see this headlight design here which is beautiful at night in this upgraded. And so if I don't hurt myself here on these rocks, this machine gray is very nice. And we also have the black interior with the terracotta. This you may have seen at the beginning. We'll take a peek here. Roof rails, 20-inch wheels, as I mentioned, and we're on a little bit of a decline here, a little bit twisted differently. So you can see that this is the type of terrain really that this vehicle will shine in or perform well in. Not so soggy and wet, but more of just a different terrain going up. And I really would love to drive it on that little path, except that it would get pretty dirty and it's a brand new vehicle, so not going to do that. Do just want to open up the door here, show you a little bit of that interior before we get back on our drive. And of course, comfortable for everybody, wide seats. I'm very interested in seeing how the back seat compares as far as the room. The back seat compares, and of course cargo area on the CX-90, as we get to see next week. We're gonna head down into the park here. Just see a little bit of the scenery. So this is what's fun, whether it's gravel or just softer terrain, grass, clay. When you come to Enterprise, this is a nice place to check out. Just a typical community park. They do have a little playground, as you can see up here, for the kids, a picnic area, and then some great photo venues by the lake over there, the trees. And back in the back is where they have youth baseball and softball. Also have a little splash pad out here when the weather's right, which is not too far away, maybe a couple weeks ago actually. A lot of fun here at the park. Sun's starting to go down, even though we've had a lot of clouds today, and my auto lights just clicked on, probably because of most of the tree coverage. I don't know if you can see, they've got a helicopter up here since we are so close to Fort Rucker, and we're very thankful for all of the volunteer service men and women in the U.S. Army and the Army Aviation Program. So it just feels so good, very responsive. Just a little bit here or there and the car responds. Comment down below what your favorite drive of the CX-50 is, if you've had a chance to test drive it. If you haven't had a chance to test drive it and are considering the CX-50, what questions do you have that maybe some in the community can answer? I don't really get to test out the turbo in traffic as much here, and but it's very well matched the power to this size of vehicle. And it's a really enjoyable drive. And I guess I'm going to catch every red light or every transition here till we get back to the dealership. We're in our last 100 or so feet till we get back to the home of Mitchell Mazda. Here we are. If you have any questions or comments on the CX-50 or CX-90 or anything, you can text me at the number down below or call me and comment below. And I can't wait to see you on the next one.